Hi, it's Claire and welcome to Needle Say More. Today I wanted to talk to you about the Bobbi skirt, how I made it, the changes that I made, including how I got it out of 1 metre of fabric and adding the elastic waistband at the back for extra comfort. Let's get started. So what drew me to the Bobbi skirt is I love the buttons down the front. I think an A-line kind of denim skirt with buttons on is a classic for any capsule wardrobe. I also really love these pockets and how the corners cut off to give this kind of geometric shape, and the slanted pockets. When I saw this fabric at Fabric Swap, I just knew it had to be the Bobbi skirt. I just loved it. So I also, because I'm 5'10", I lengthened the pattern pieces slightly because I knew I wanted it to hit me above the knee. I knew if it was too short that I wouldn't wear it, because I want it to be kind of for all seasons, so wearing it with kind of leggings and tights, but then also I thought it would be great for spring, autumn, summer as well. So I wanted it to kind of be an all year round skirt. The great thing about the Tilly and the Buttons patterns is they fit different body sizes. So when I initially measured myself, I came out as a 7 on my waist and my hips, but my waist and my hips, particularly my waist, does change throughout the day. So I knew that I might need to make alterations once it's made, because I normally make a size 5, either a 4 or a 5 in the Tilly and the Buttons patterns. I'm kind of between a 12 and a 14. So I knew that it might come out a bit big, so I knew I needed to have a plan A. To get the elasticated waistband, so if I'd made it full measurement, it would have been too big, but my daughter has skirts like this with the elastic waistband, and they always look really nice. And I knew that I would probably layer this, so with a cardigan or a jumper over, so you probably would never see the waistband at the back. So, and I've really got into elasticated waist recently because they're just so comfortable, and I love being comfortable. So how I added it in, so I did a try on before I put the buttons on. I realised it was going to be way too big, but I did like the fullness at the bottom. So I stitched the elastic in the side seam here, so I stitched in the ditch there, then I stitched in the ditch here, and then I pulled it taut. I did a line, 2 lines of stitching across the waistband with it pulled taut, making sure to butt it right up against this seam at the top of the waistband. Once that had been done, I hand stitched the back of the waistband. Generally, when I do waistbands, I like to hand stitch them along the back before I top stitch them on the front. That way I know that I'm going to get a really neat finish. To get it out of a metre, there were some compromises that I had to make. So the waistband, it was cut on the fold, and I had to seam it in places. But to be honest, because of the busy pattern and the placement of the belt loops, I don't think you can notice. On the back, it's pieced in the centre back, and you can only see this from the inside of the waistband because it's got the belt loop across the centre back, and to be honest, because it's elasticated, you can't really tell anyway. So to get it out, I prioritised my back piece because that's the biggest piece, and then the panels, and then the waistband just had to go here and there, and I did have to piece it. I couldn't get it out cut on the fold as it suggested. When I did cut it out to get it to line up to be the right measurement and to seam it, I did have to remember to add a centimetre seam allowance on either side, or 1.5 centimetres, it's up to you, so that it would come back together again. So all I was left over with after cutting it out, I think I had this piece and I had another couple of really thin slithers that I tested the fabric on in the overlocker, but I had hardly any waste after and hardly any left over. So I'm really glad that I managed to get it out of a metre. The fabric was 140 or 142 wide, so it was a wider width, and it's a really nice fabric. It's almost like a twill, like a cotton twill or a cotton drill. It's a little bit lighter than a denim, but it's got the same structure and appearance as denim.
I hope you've enjoyed the video and seeing my version of the Bobby skirt. If you've got any questions, please let me know in the comments, and I'd love to hear from you if you've made the same skirt and to hear how you got on.